us into giving up our freedoms for the promise of safety. All right, let's see what a former Homeland Security bureaucrat who was her guest, Gretchen Carlson's guest, let's see what he had to say about this whole process.
There's nothing more micromanaged in the law than how people get their guns, who can be denied, exactly what crimes are disqualifying. I worked in Congress. I know how down to every last comma, every last crime. It's an amazing thing. So this is a congressional situation. This is a situation where the executive branch has very little discretion on what to do about gun rights. There you go. Did you hear what he said? He said, you know, this is micromanaged. You know, every little last detail, who can get a gun, what you can do with it, and all this kind of stuff. That's also called infringement. That's what the Second Amendment was about. They knew it was going to come by death by 1,000 cuts, micromanaging it. And he's fine with that. He's also fine with the fact that he says this is a congressional thing, but he doesn't like that. He thinks the executive should have the decision on this, right? So here is a guy, Homeland Security, former Homeland Security, on Fox News, panicking the public and saying the problem is that you've got Congress micromanaging and basically ignoring the Second Amendment. And we need to have the executive, the president, come in and give us orders and just take away our gun rights. That's what he's advocating, Darren.
Well, and this is just the beginning, because if we get a Paris-style attack here in the United States, imagine how many folks are going to be on that the no-fly list and the terror watch list. It's going to be over the top. Oh yeah, and when he talks about how the executive doesn't have enough discretion to just ban guns, she's like, oh yes, this is very serious, very scary. She goes, oh, you know, and never any pushback, never any mention of questioning of due process, what these watch lists are, how do you get on a list, what is this all about? And the nonsense involved in that, or anything to do with the Second or the Sixth Amendment. And remember, folks, this isn't coming from the Obama administration necessarily. This is a big push by the conservative networks like Fox News.
Exactly. This is a report that came out. It was 2004 to 2010 initially. And then this weekend, they've got an update to 2014, and everybody is covering it, and the conservative press is really pushing this. And so last thing here, Darren. Forbes says, so the question shouldn't be, why does the NRA oppose using this list to take away people's rights? The question should be, why doesn't everybody oppose using this list to take away rights?
That's right.
That's the real fundamental issue that we should all be saying. We shouldn't have these secret watch lists that can take away your rights.
Absolutely. And all you conservatives out there who were cheering for the Homeland Security Act, the Patriot Acts, be careful what you ask for. It may come true. Looks like it is. Now it looks like they might go after your guns. All right, hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Obama administration, their last attempt to go into war with Syria. Well, it backfired on them big time. Remember, they blamed Bashar al-Assad for the chemical warfare attack on his own people. Like I said, it backfired on Obama big time because the evidence was pointing in the direction of a false flag. Killing ISIS coming up next on the INFOWARS Nightly News. Stick around.
Shane Steiner's involvement with InfoWarsLife.com truly happened in an organic way. I went to high school with Shane, his brother, knew his parents well, and he was visiting the office once, hadn't been to the office in years, and said, wow, I notice you're making and selling supplements. Do these really work? Because I've tried a lot of supplements as a workout enthusiast, and I really think most of them are hype. And I said, here, take some home, try it. Well, a few weeks later, he came in blown away and said, I want to buy 3 boxes of this stuff to give my friends and family. It's simply amazing. He said, why does it work so well? And I said, listen, go to InfoWarsLife.com, watch the informational videos with Dr. Group and others. They understand how it all works. I know that it works for me. That's all I understand. The science, the facts, the research, people's testimonials, they're all on InfoWarsLife.com. You can check it out for yourself.
I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to push myself and work out harder. And that led to me being able to come out and do stuff like the barefooting and the surfing and stuff like that, which I would have never done. I never would have done that 2 years ago.
Shane has said over and over again, more than just libido and energy, it made him want to get into the gym more. It made him want to get in better shape. And believe me, the Steiners have amazing genetics. His brother is a world champion steer wrestler. His dad, Bobby Steiner, is a famous world champion bull rider. They've got natural genetics. But when you added this to the mix, in Shane's own words, it took him to the next level. Shane noticed the mental clarity, Bobby was able to work out longer and gain muscle mass. He's already completely shredded. I gotta admit, for me, the biggest effect has been libido. Now, I've never claimed to have a body like some beach model, but back when I was 20, 22 years old and worked out every day, I looked great. But over the years, and being married, having 3 kids, and working 18 hours a day, I gained basically 100 pounds. And it's been a long process losing that weight in the last 4 years. But if you look at the photos and the videos of what I looked like 4 or 5 years ago versus today, the results are dramatic. I'd already cleaned up my diet, I was working out hard, but I'd only lost about 20 pounds. It was adding the other key ingredients from InfoWarsLife.com that helped me personally go to the next level and shed another 35 pounds.
This has actually made me feel so good that here lately, about a year ago, I started training jiu-jitsu, and that kind of led to doing some boxing and kickboxing. I mean, it's amazing that 2 years ago, I was on the couch and couldn't even tie my shoes, and now I'm training with MMA fighters and just doing stuff that I never thought that I would be doing ever again. So Super Male Vitality has allowed me to do some amazing things, and if it has those kind of effects for me, I know that it will do great things for you. So just try Super Male Vitality. I promise you, you'll love it.
And finally, let's look at Anthony Gucciardi, InfoWars.com reporter. He also works with Dr. Group and others, helping develop the newest, most cutting-edge, high-quality supplements. Let's take a look at what happened when he tried to barefoot ski for the first time with the Steiners. And remember, we're not making fun of him. He had the will to get in the arena, and he's lost more than 10 pounds in the last few years of fat and gained more than 10 pounds of muscle. And Anthony chalks it up to Super Male Vitality as well. Bottom line, folks, you want to discover the power of Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality for yourself by visiting InfoWarsLife.com today or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
A couple of years ago, the Obama administration tried to go to war with Syria after they blamed Syrian President Bashar al-Assad for a chemical attack against his own people. But this backfired on the Obama administration big time, because as it turns out, evidence started to pour in that suggested that the Syrian chemical attack was a false flag.
10 days ago, the world watched in horror as men, women, and children were massacred in Syria in the worst chemical weapons attack of the 21st century.
The Assad regime, and only undeniably the Assad regime, unleashed an outrageous chemical attack against its own citizens.
After careful deliberation, I have decided that the United States should take military action against Syrian regime targets.
We can tell you beyond any reasonable doubt that our evidence proves the Assad regime prepared for this attack.
I've watched debates in Congress. A congressman asks Mr. Kerry, is there al-Qaeda? People say they've gotten stronger. He says no. I say officially, they aren't there. The main combat unit, the so-called al-Nusra, is a unit of al-Qaeda. They know about this. It's not pleasant for me to see this. Well, we communicate with them and assume that they are decent people. He lies openly, and he knows that he lies.
We're not really positive who set off the gas. I mean, the group that's most likely to benefit from that is Al-Qaeda.
Did President Bashar Assad gas his own people? Not according to a growing number of skeptics, including Alex Jones, syndicated radio talk show host.
I don't know who launched the chemical attack, but all the evidence leans towards the rebels having the motive to do it. And the Russians have put out a new report saying they have proof the rebels did it back in March of this year.
Some people here and there, amazingly, have questioned the evidence of this assault on conscience. I repeat here again today that only the most willful desire to avoid reality can assert that this did not occur as described, or that the regime did not do it.
All right, so what kind of proof is there that the rebels would do this? I mean, the rebels supposedly are supporting the people of Syria. They would actually sacrifice their own people in order to draw America into this war to start World War III?
Well, look, the rebels are made up of jihadis, al-Qaeda, and some domestic Syrians, but around 60%, many studies show, are al-Qaeda, are jihadis. They've been wiping out whole Christian villages. So I don't think the rebels represent the Syrian people.
I believe you will not deny the fact that one hardly should back those who kills their enemies and eat their organs and all that is filmed and shot. Do you want to support these people? Do you want to supply arms to these people?
There's a growing volume of new evidence from numerous sources in the Middle East, mostly affiliated with the Syrian opposition and its sponsors and supporters, which makes a very strong case based on solid circumstantial evidence that the August 21st, 2013 chemical strike in the Damascus suburbs was indeed a premeditated provocation.
I would not understand or comprehend that Bashar al-Assad, no matter how bad a man he may be, would be so stupid as to order a chemical weapons attack on civilians in his own country, when the immediate consequence of which might be that he would be at war with the United States.
So we could be looking here at a frame job. Available data puts the horror in a different and disturbing light, meaning it's not Bashar doing the horrible things. It's the rebels nerve-gassing themselves, framing Bashar, setting him up so that the al-Qaeda guys win, and then we end up on the side of al-Qaeda, and you've heard that.
So this reeks of a false flag operation.
I can't see fighting to impose Sharia law in Syria. I also can't see sending my son to fight with Islamic rebels against Christians. I also can't see my son going to fight on the same side as al-Qaeda.
We should be focused on defending the United States of America. That's why young men and women sign up to join the military, not to as you note, serve as al-Qaeda's Air Force.
Osama bin
A 7-hour-long debate in the British Parliament has culminated in a landslide approval of UK strikes on Islamic State positions in Iraq. All three major parties backing the initiative. The bombings could be unleashed any moment now.
As of today, there's a new battle that has begun against ISIS trying to recapture Saddam Hussein's hometown of Tikrit.
The town of al-Baghdadi falling into the hands of ISIS as the Iraqi army evaporates.
ISIS is also fighting to keep territory in Iraq. Tonight, a fierce battle continues for Saddam Hussein's hometown of Tikrit. Iraqi forces hope to seize it to use as a base for eventually retaking the city of Mosul.
This as the terror group gains ground in Anbar province, some predicting a collapse of the area within hours.
In a new, slickly produced video, ISIS claims its militants are still on the streets of Tikrit, confidently fighting off the assault by Iraqi forces.
On the global map, you see ISIS spreading to places like Algeria and Libya, into the Far East and Indonesia and the Philippines as well.
This is radical Islamic jihad making war on Western civilization.
Once again, the world is standing by doing little while the ISIS menace grows, spreading all over the Middle East and North Africa.
I am concerned about this report about Syrian rebels and the ceasefire with ISIS. Senator Paul,
that's not true.
Well,
it's not true.
It's not true.
Whether I don't care about the report. I know these people intimately. We talk to them all the time.
Tornova says people living in ISIS-controlled areas are in fear of the harsh penalties for infringement of the stringent laws.
The Islamic State terror group has reportedly executed 100